you everyone for being here. Thank you to Professor Sharif. To her guidance throughout this project was absolutely amazing, and I owe all of this to her. And then starting off with my project, it's titled From Phoenix to Gaza, Campus Solidarity and the Struggle for Liberation. I'm going to provide a little bit of context in this introduction. So in spring 2024, dozens of students at Arizona State University participated in a pro-Palestine encampment in response to the genocide in Gaza. My project examines how three students from different racial, economic, and ethnic backgrounds, who I named Daniel, Marcus, and Ellie, came to the shared political commitment to Palestinian liberation. And the main focus is how solidarity emerged across racial, religious, and ideological differences. And so first I want to start off with a little bit of my positionality. I'm a very proud student organizer with the organizations these members were affiliated with. And it gave me trust with these participants, and it shaped the questions I asked and how I interpreted their responses. I will start off with saying all my interviewers were male, which highlighted how gender shapes visibility and vulnerability. And also, the questions over my project were not static. They changed with how news shaped the situation and then the understanding of solidarity and the role students have. And so starting off with my research question and my methods, how do student organizers understand and practice solidarity with Palestine amid repression, political shifts, and genocide? I used semi-structured interviews with three student activists who were involved in encampment. They are given anonymous names for their safety. One is Daniel, who's Vietnamese American. Another is Marcus, who's African American, and Ellie, who's Jewish American. And themes were drawn from qualitative coding of their narratives. So I wanted to provide some sample questions, what I asked. One was, since the ceasefire began, have you noticed a shift in student community engagement in Phoenix? What are the next steps for long-term political education, coalition building, and sustained change? How can activists challenge Orientalist depictions and reframe narratives towards liberation? What was your first exposure to the Israel-Palestine issue, and how have you faced pushback from friends, family, or institutions for being pro-Palestine? And so some of my findings, I'm going to start off with Daniel, who's a public policy major. Through organizing, Daniel was able to begin how Arizona's education system, privatization of education and other institutions and military contracts are linked to struggles in Gaza and how our institutions are invested in Israel. Also for him, the encampment became a site to reflect on how state violence connects local and international issues. And also another thread is educational insight that they all had. How did they learn from this experience? For him, organizing clarified how institutions shape global politics, even from the university level. Next, we have Marcus, who's also a labor-focused activist. Many of his roots are in labor organizing, and he came to view solidarity with Palestine as also an extension of anti-capitalist politics. The encampment offered a space to learn from others and test strategies for collective action. And for him, his insight that he saw organizing as a space where working class and global liberation struggles meet. And then Ellie, who is Jewish American, who was raised with Zionist narratives, particularly his father was in the IDF. His perspective shifted after engaging with anti-colonial frameworks on campus and in media. The experience reshaped his understanding of his own identity, violence, and ethics, and his political transformation came through dialogue, self-critique, and exposure to alternatives. And so significance, Daniel, Marcus, and Ellie all used encampment to unlearn dominant narratives that are used on campus, connect across differences, and explore new frameworks for justice and education. Also, their learning wasn't abstract. It was grounded in the lived experiences that they all had, labor struggles, personal identity, and generational memory. And when law enforcement was brought in, this changed the encampment from one that could have been used by the university as an educational space into one that was disciplinary, reflecting a common pattern across universities in America. And I also want to share some quotes that they said, because I found all of these to be very powerful. Daniel stated, there is opportunity here for students who have been historically the drivers of this type of anti-imperialist, anti-war change take advantage at this moment in time and make real change. Marcus, while speaking about the labor world, even in the labor world, we are still trying to pressure unions to divest from Israel. The only union, to my knowledge, that did divest fully from Israel is the National Union of Painters and Allied Trades, kind of showing how the struggle is not over. And then one of the quotes I think I found most powerful from Ellie, specifically talking about his family's experience, was that how knowing his family's experience has now shaped what he's believed, specifically saying that his great grandmother, her mother, had to hide her in a dumpster so she would not be killed during the pogroms in Russia. And specifically stating after that is that I don't want people to go through that, and that a common slogan across Jewish anti-Zionist spaces is never again for anyone. And then I also wanted to share what I learned. My understanding of solidarity deepened. It's not about having a shared identity or all being Palestinian or all being a Muslim, but it's also about a shared risk and recognizing what we can do, but also reflecting on how we messed up or what we did correctly. Also just showing commitment. And as political conditions shifted, so did my questions. Research became an ongoing process of adaptation, listening, and caring for those around me. I learned that student organizers are educators in their own right, and they teach through dialogue, direct action, and building community on their campus. But also, gender, background, and institutional position shaped how participants were seen and treated. But they all found common ground in rejecting injustice. And then what I want to pass along to you is organizing is built on relationships, risk, and reflection. There is no perfect script. It's just you just need to have commitment and show up and learn and act. And then students are not learners in their classrooms. They are independent actors who are shaping the world around them. That solidarity is not symbolic. It's showing up to rallies or helping with divestment campaigns or giving jail support or having difficult conversations with your family about their politics and standing up even when it may be uncomfortable for you. And also that universities must recognize that protest can be a part of the educational process and that it's not something that they need to fear or suppress, and that we can't afford to see global injustice as disconnected from our campuses, and that these struggles are linked and students know it. Thank you very much.